May in my bullet journal is packed full of rainbows, sparkles, stars, purple, and all of my favorite supplies. So let's get started. Hi, I'm Hannah. Thanks for joining me. So today my challenge run is to use all of my favorite things, which isn't much of a challenge, but I wanted to highlight some of the products that I love using and really help me out with my process. I'm so sorry, in this video I lean forward a lot. I tried to cut out the top of my head as much as possible, but sometimes you're just going to see my little curls in the frame. So first on the list of favorite supplies would be measuring tools. I have a regular ruler and then this transparent stencil that I got from Notebook Therapy that helps me line up with the dot grid a little bit easier. The boxes on my calendar spread are 3 centimeters wide by 3 centimeters tall, which when your ruler is used, it makes it very simple to make a very uniform calendar. I learned this after 4 months of doing it wrong and getting it wrong. It's right now. I'm so glad to see this character development. These Pigma micron markers are very hard to say, but they're legends for a reason. They work excellently. And you can use a white paint marker or paint pen to clean up your mistakes. This is a kneaded eraser, and I love them because they don't create eraser shavings. I hate eraser shavings. Now it's time to fill in the dates on my calendar spread. Tombow markers are just such a staple of the bullet journaling world. They are the OGs. I feel like they're the equivalent to the Urban Decay Naked palette for bullet journaling. If you don't have a pack of Tombow markers, I highly suggest it, but just a warning that it can create very dragonish collector tendencies. You do not need every single color and tone possible because there are so many of them and it becomes very expensive. We are taking inspiration today from some spreads in my practice journal. So, this is a journal where I do a lot of my daily journaling in, and I just try out different combinations of things. And so, I know that I love these things together. Text washi tape is a staple in my collection, and I love pairing it with those washi papers that are a little bit more transparent. So this is the journal that I have dubbed my practice journal. I've had it for 3 years. It's from Notebook Therapy, and they no longer sell this particular one, but they have others like it. But I've used it to hone my style, try new things, and allow myself the freedom to fail. Because sometimes I can't do anything at all if I am worried about the outcome. So these are pages where I'm just not worried about how things are going to turn out, and some of them have turned out amazing. I only have a few blank pages left, and so I'm excited to start on my next practice journal. A great way to fill space, add visual interest, and conserve some of your supplies is to tear things in half. It's also just really fun to do. It's a very tactilely interesting thing to be able to tear something for a good reason. See, I wouldn't have chosen to have that chunk taken out of it, but man, I think it looks great. So these supplies are absolute luxuries, but have become essential to the experience of bullet journaling for me. This is a sticker smoother that does help a lot, and I use it a lot. And then tiny fancy scissors, and then tiny fancy tweezers. They are so special and magical and make the experience of bullet journaling so much better, though you do not need them. I know you don't, but if you have the means, if you have the ability to get these items, I think that they are worth it. They add so much to the experience. I also think that text washi tapes are worth it. They're so helpful for layering with other things and creating a background that's interesting without adding too much visual weight. I use mine a ton, so I absolutely recommend getting some if you're new to collage journaling. A lot of these supplies are pretty inexpensive, which is one of the reasons why I've been able to have a journaling hobby at all. It's pretty accessible as far as pricing, so it's easy to build a collection of supplies to work with. Sometimes maybe a little bit too easy, but the prices have fluctuated a lot lately and for really frustrating and stupid reasons. If you are in the US, I recommend looking into StickiiClub, a US company who collaborates with artists and makes amazing stickers. They pay and credit their artists, and none of their stickers are AI generated. So they went through a couple of difficult things recently and have been amazing throughout, have treated their customers very well. So if you would support them, I would love that. This is not sponsored, but I would accept a sponsorship. Raise your hand if you realize that I used the wrong half of the washi sheet that I was planning to use, but you know what? It ended up looking better than it would have if I had used the right half. So I did it on purpose. But that does mean that I tore off this little bit of that sheet for no reason, so I'm going to give it a reason. It's going to become purposeful by being placed right here and being just a little strip of nebula over here in the corner. And again, I wouldn't have planned that, but it looks fantastic. When you're creating art, there are only happy accidents. So a lot of these stickers do come from JournalSay, which is a Chinese company, and so it would be a lot more expensive than it was to purchase these things. And I'm uncertain about the ethics of their company. I know nothing about their working conditions, and I realized that they use a lot of AI generated art. Some of these things are simple enough to be clip art, but I have noticed that there's some real nonsense in there. I got some nonsense stickers, and there's part of me that sort of delights in that because I think it's really funny that AI is such a thing when, gosh, it's so bad. But I do have beef with AI. I don't like it. And yeah, so you're going to just have to use your discretion on whether or not you're going to purchase from JournalSay. But I have purchased quite a lot over the last year or more, and so I have a lot of supplies that I don't think I'll ever be able to fully use. So I would like to host a giveaway. Next month is my birthday month, and so I would love to hobbit it up and give something to you. So stay tuned for next month because you might be able to win some things. And I promise I won't give you junk. I won't give you some of the AI awfulness. I'm really attached to this crystal ball, but it just covers too much of that book stack, so it's going to go on reserve and wait for its time. So this key sticker was a struggle. My tweezers to the rescue because I just kept getting it offset on the page so it sticks out a little bit too much, and then it broke. So we're just gonna have a stylistically broken key, and I actually really like the way that looks. That just adds a little bit of something something that I think is pretty cool. And then these fern rainbow stickers are just a dream. They are absolutely magical. I knew I wanted something else to go right here, but I just couldn't make any decisions at this point because it covered too much of the pattern of the washi tape sticker. And I didn't want to do that. I thought that was really pretty. So I'm going to give it some time and I'm going to think about it and do a little bit of futzing and then move on to the next page. At this point, I hadn't erased my mistake. I accidentally penciled out the entirety of my calendar spread on the wrong page, and I had to erase all of it and start over. But as always, I learned a lot in making that mistake, and so I feel a lot more confident in making my calendar spread. Here I am penning out my spending tracker spread. And then one of the worst disasters that can happen in the home of a cat owner, I dropped my kneaded eraser. It is now covered in cat hair, but we persevere. Luckily, my eraser still works even though there's cat hair embedded in it. It's fine. I'll take it out as I go. I'm going to add the headings for my spending tracker and then add a little bit of color to my page here with some highlighting with my Tombow markers. I'm going to make sure that the color is what I want that matches the other page. I had to take a minute to decide if I was going to use this color or the lighter color, and I chose this one. Now that all of the functional pieces are done, it's time to decorate. I'm going to use this same washi tape from the other spread and also tear it in half. But I'm going to do something a little bit different with it this time and layer it with another washi tape. A very starry, spacey one, not that one, a different one. That one. It has gold gilding on it and it shines through the other washi tape, and I think that looks really neat together. The only problem with washi tapes that don't have a backing is that the edges sometimes get stuck together and they're very hard to unstick. This one ripped in a way that wasn't going to fully fit back together, so I didn't fight it. Apparently, the unintentional theme of the day is to allow things to be imperfect. But not too imperfect. I couldn't let that be quite so crooked. I'm bringing back that text washi tape torn into header pieces, but it just so happens that the pieces I intended for one page fit better on the opposite page. I did need to tear down a piece a little bit extra for it to fit, but I am proud to say that I recently used that little torn bit in another journal. However, I did not realize until I was done with the spread with that little torn piece that it says, if I live through this, if I live through this, if I live through this, if I live through this. About which I am uncertain how to feel. I would maybe call that ominous optimism. But this particular tape says some wild things, so I do my best to make it blend into the background. I finally get to use the crystal ball sticker. I adore how this little corner turned out. I still don't have a plan for the space next to it, but I'll think of something eventually. It was much harder to decide on the placement of the other stickers, so while I think about it, here's another one of my favorite things. These are the Pentel sign brush pens, I think. They're not called the same thing on any website, and despite all appearances, they are not called Brush Up at all. Regardless of the name, they are fantastic. The brush tip is easy to control, so it's not difficult to get line variants, and the color selection in this pack is like I handpicked them. This was one of those purchases where I feel that my life was genuinely improved upon receiving them, which is always the hope when buying something, but usually not the outcome. I am definitely no expert at lettering, but these pens make it easier to pretend like I'm better than I am, which helps me continue to practice lettering, which is great. Not sponsored, just a huge fan. Oh god, if I was sponsored by Pentel, oh! I'm using the scripts and scraps from that purple sheet to fill in little spots and doing my best to not cover up that beautiful gold gilding. I love the effect of the washi being slightly transparent so you can see all of the layers underneath, so I had to make sure my subsequent stickers didn't overpower it. And here is another favorite tool, a glue pen. While I love the glue tape dispenser that I use to stick down my calendar header, it's a little too large for these smaller pieces. This is like a ballpoint pen, but the ink is glue. It's so incredibly handy for small spaces and for resticking the edges of things that may want to peel up. I don't know why it took so much thinking for me to realize that both of the spots I wanted filled were the perfect shape for these golden keys. Sometimes the solution is right in front of your face. That's this spread done, and on to the last one, my reflections pages. I've been enjoying these reflections pages more than I thought I would. I really like having a space dedicated to writing about what happened in each month and how I felt. And the great thing about it is that they're reflections, so they don't have to be done while the month is still happening. I'm not very good at doing things in a timely manner, which is okay. And sometimes you need time to think about what happened to even know what to focus on. So for like my February pages, I used it as a space to journal about confidence. I struggle with self confidence, so it was cathartic to write about what makes me feel confident and what habits I can practice to embody the same confidence I love to see in others. So I very confidently stuck all these pieces down and then had to peel them all back up again. I had forgotten that I wanted the text tape to peek out from behind the space papers so you can actually see them, and it creates a slightly larger frame for the stickers to fit into. Since they're larger stickers, I didn't want them to eat up all of the decorations beneath them. I'm gathering up a bunch of stickers to lay out and move around to see what I liked before committing to anything. I didn't want my too much gene to plaster the entire page with stickers and lose the contrast between elements. And part of the process for me is placing and replacing things. I really value having hobbies that support me in doing something wrong and then being able to try again and do it better. One of the reasons I love to write so much, I've written fantasy since I was a kid, is that I can write a sentence very poorly, learn what I'm actually trying to say, and then write with style and intention. I can delete, change, rearrange, try new things, and explore ideas, characters, and make entire worlds freely, all because I can always fix it later. It doesn't need to be perfect on the first try. It's my life goal to publish books someday, but it's such a long process that it's become frustrating. Even after years of work, I don't have a finished product to show anyone. And that's why I started making videos. It combines all of my hobbies into one, and I have completed projects that I can share. Another excessive and unnecessary favorite thing are these treasure boxes. I have filled them with stickers, and my inner child is ecstatic about them. Yes, I do have multiple boxes. Yes, they are all stuffed with stickers. And yes, my own greed sickens me, but sometimes that inner child asks so nicely, and she's done all of her homework, and she won't ask for anything else ever again. And she's so cute, so my only choice is to spoil her rotten. Since my name is the Pen Witch, it would be remiss of me if I did not show you my favorite pens. These are from the Quirky Cup Collective, and they made me finally learn to love my handwriting. Something about them makes my handwriting look like a love letter. And it says you are magic on them. I swear, they were made for me. And another broken key to add to this theme of broken keys. They looked a little lonely over here all alone, so I added some of the spare scraps around the pieces, and they fell together so serendipitously. It did take a little bit of effort to get this key back into place, but I really enjoy the results here, especially with that little swoop of that torn bit. It worked so well, I couldn't have planned it. The glue pen will help these little pieces stay in place, and then I'm going to add a few more little sparkles. I finally know what I want in this space. You guessed it, a key. I was considering a quote, but I tried it out on another piece of paper and I didn't like how cramped it looked. I was going to write the definition of synchronicity, which is a personally significant coincidence. But I think the key looks much prettier, and when I see it, I'll be reminded to look out for synchronistic keys. After a few more sparkles, it's done. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while I put together my May pages. I love the way these turned out, and the process was so much fun. It's so magical and witchy and beautiful, and I really, really like it. And I just can't wait for the next one. Next month is my birthday, as I said, and so I'm really excited to do something a little bit extra special for my birthday. I hope to see you then. Bye.